You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there.
There we are.
We'll be here. Are we going now, Johnny?
Absolutely.
Welcome to It's Me, God. This is Elizabeth calling in from Clarksville, Arkansas. How are you boys doing out there in L.A.?
Oh, we're doing great.
Today. Carl, introduce our guest star today.
Oh, well, sitting in on sound, and he'll probably be here most Thursdays, is Johnny Owens, who is, as my original partner, Jake Bowman, moves into another job and is only around once in a while. Johnny's kind of stepped up as my main right-hand partner on this thing. So, and he's also the son of a preacher man.
Is that the John Owens that's now my Facebook friend?
Yes, it is. John Mark Owens.
How about that?
John Mark Owens.
I knew I had a John Owens, a new friend, friend. That's awesome. Awesome.
John Mark Owens, Acts 13:5.
And our other guest star, of course, is Carl Kozlowski, our co-host.
Oh, okay. Well, me too.
And most importantly of all, we can always count on the Holy Spirit to lead us and guide us in this direction of the conversation wherever we go. I've got some neat things to share with you. And one of the biggest things I can share is that I'm back. Y'all probably didn't even realize I was gone. But for about 2 or 3 months, I've really been in a dark hole, and what they call it, kind of like the dark night of the soul, if anybody understands what I'm talking about there, where you just really have a hard time spiritually to get in there and get in the race and stay in the race. I went back to the hospital into the lab Wednesday. I had my another doctor's appointment with the hematologist to find out what lab test results were. And what first thing, and this is how important it is, we have to be open and ready and available to God at all times, so He can count on us. He can count on us to have a spirit and eyes that are alert. Walked into the hospital, and the first thing I see, and we're talking about the 5th of November, huge Christmas tree right there in the foyer, all decorated to the hilt, very beautifully decorated with a Santa hat on top. And I'm going, I say to the lady at the desk, wait a minute, is it Christmas already, a Christmas tree already? Isn't this a St. Mary's Catholic hospital here? And she says, don't blame me, I didn't put it up. So the conversation started with talking about the Christmas tree with me and another lady that was coming in there to get registered. And then when I sat down beside this gentleman, and I talked about the fact that Christmas decorations are up, and it's not even, we just got rid of Halloween, and I commented something about, thank God the politics is over with yesterday. Yeah. Now we can get on with the Christmas advertisements, and I was being sarcastic. But the conversation led into the fact that my son decorates houses down in Texas, and he does about 200 a year. And he was Texas. He said, what part of Texas? And now this gentleman, this is another one of them God incidences. This gentleman was originally from Los Angeles, California. Name was Lee. And as the conversation continued, I'm going, wow, looky what is going on here. So he's talking about in Austin, Texas, there is an event every day at sundown where these bats fly out from under the bridge that goes over the Colorado River. And the bats will fly out for this 15 minutes, a continuous multitude of bats coming out from underneath this bridge. And it's an attraction that he came all the way from California to see it. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I lived there for 13 years and did not once go see the event of the bats coming out from under that bridge.
That's in Austin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
Austin.
lived there for a year, and I saw it, and it was amazing. I went a few times, and it was just amazing.
It is amazing. And it really hit me. This was, hello, are you listening, girl? But it hit me that here was this awesome, amazing event that I just never went to go see. And I lived there for 13 years. And it was one of the ways that he used to pull me out of the funk that I was in, too. This valley. Sometimes we do that. Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We do walk in this valley that's literally, there is this valley in some kind of, I forget the name of it, but there is a valley where the walls are so steep and so closed in that the sun cannot shine in. And so it is, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, there is a valley where it's so dark, or, no light comes in there. And it is a perfect setup for robbers. So that's the reason why it's called the valley of the shadow of death, because robbers, it's a perfect setup for anybody going through this valley that they can easily attack you. So we do have our times in our life, our spiritual, where we're going to be walking through the valley of the shadow of death. And this dark night of the soul, as it was called. This talking to Lee I needed that gift. I needed the gift of hearing God speaking in my heart simply through this man by just talking about bats flying out from underneath a bridge. That's an awesome event. And I had not once taken the time to go see it. And that's the way it is with life all around us. There are awesome things happening every moment of every day if our eyes are open to the possibility of any minute. You never know. You never know when somebody is going to come into your presence. Case in point today, went to Bible study, and after Bible study, I went over to a bank because there was this woman there who I was wanting to get permission to get a Blessed Mother statue out of the shard because I was going to sell the house of the woman I cared for at the nursing home is now back in a nursing home, and her Blessed Mother statue was being more or less just, nobody was wanting it, and so I asked the daughter, can I have it? And she said, sure. So here I am tooling around. I left that, and I noticed this person walking with this huge load upon his back. And it's obvious that he was somebody headed toward the freeway to catch a ride. That's the immediate thought that I had in my mind when I saw him. I said, boy, that's a heavy pack on his back. Lord, let me go check with him and see if he's going down to the freeway, and I'll give him a ride. Now, remember last week, Carl, I talked about the transient, or did that get on the show last week? Anyhow, I met a transient at the church last week, who, after talking with him twice and offering him a job and a place to come, and it was interesting to see how quickly he backed up, and he was really not interested in working. He was more interested in, are people going to give me some money? So that was last week that I had that encounter, and the Lord opened my eyes up to the fact that there are just some folks who don't really want to be helped. But this particular guy, when I asked him if he needed a ride, he says, well, first I need to find water. I need some water. And I said, well, can I take you to the house, give you some water? And so he said, yeah. So we got him loaded up in the car, and he was not in the car more than 3 minutes. That it was obvious that we were put together. I needed help. My husband and I are scraping paint off the porch, and we've been doing so for 2 or 3 weeks. And his back and my physical problems have not enabled us or enabled us to continue with the scraping very long. We'd have to give up, stop, scrape a little here, scrape a little there, stop. So within 3 minutes, I could tell that, oh, wait a minute, God sent you to me as a gift. So sure enough, this guy brought him home, fed him, let him wash his clothes and take a shower and everything, and then he's been working all afternoon helping us with the scraping outside and the painting. And tomorrow he gets to go to Russellville when I go to Russellville, because that was his destination. He said he wanted to go to Russellville today. So this one was definitely a gift from God to help us in our life. And would have missed it if it wasn't for the fact that, go here, do this, and just be led in the direction that, you're being inspired to go to. One thing leads to another, one dot. And this is what, and we're going to talk about running the race, because remember I told you at the beginning how down I have been, and I was really in the I don't care feeling. Even going to sing at the nursing home, it was like, God, I just have no energy. I don't feel good, and it was really hard to go sing this past week over there. And it really made you, when you came home, when I came home, I was feeling like, why bother? Why bother anymore, Lord? I just can't do it anymore for you. Even to the point that I was thinking about this radio show. Why bother? But today, not yet today, alone today, see, I'm having trouble talking right now. But this week, God's been turning that attitude around and helping me to realize the importance of each and every step we take. St. Paul talks about us running a race, but it's really a walk toward the end. And one of the things that he gave me that was very, very comforting is the fact that, yes, I was discouraged. Last week we were doing statistics on the show, and I was discouraged that only 24% of the United States citizens are going to church actively every week. And 24%, that means 75%, Lord, they're just ignoring you and not feeling they need you in their life. And that was really getting me down. And that's interesting see how discouragement can come in ways you don't even recognize it's from, that it's coming from even thinking thoughts like that people don't care about you, God, and they're not loving you. Those are words that, if I let them settle into my mind, they can cause me to lose hope and a desire to even continue on, because what's the use? What's the use? So one of the things when I was writing down my thoughts, and I want y'all to think about times when you have times like this so you can share it too. What's the use? Why keep trying, and why pursue your dreams and your hopes and so forth?
Sure.
But one of the things that always has helped me is to sit down and write my thoughts down in the journals that I have over the years. And I was going to be talking about the power of love and the power of prayer today, and we probably will get into that. But it led eventually into run the race till you win. And why even enter a race, guys, if you don't have the intention of winning the race or getting to the finish line? Isn't that a good question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever had any times in your life when you had comparing, like what I'm talking about, that dark night of the soul, the times where you're just so discouraged and you feel like, what's the use?
Absolutely. I had a whole bunch of them, I'd say, because I had, especially, I'd say that my lowest point was 2003. I had moved to LA like the fall before, and in June of 2003, I crashed my car on the freeway because I fell asleep. I was lucky I was in a totally stopped traffic jam. And I was lucky also so I just rolled into somebody, another car, but I didn't hurt anybody else. It totaled my car, though. And then my trunk, I was lucky I didn't get hit from behind. I had all my TV and my stereo and my DVDs and everything was on the back that could have been smashed. I could have lost everything, that made me, happy or whatever. But it was at that time I couldn't find work much because I had the sleep problem, and just everything was just really hard and going bad at the time for months, and gradually it got better over a couple of years. But it was a really scary time, but it taught me a lot about putting trust in God that things are that will always work out. Not to ever despair about things, and I really have an unshakable faith in that.
Isn't that interesting how that for us to develop that faith and belief, we have to walk through the walk in that valley. Otherwise, we never really could say with great conviction, God brings us out. He is with us, and He will help us, and He'll get us to the other side. We can't say that with conviction if we don't actually walk